When I met Awakened Zen Master Thich Ting, right, in the beginning, at that time I had read a lot of books too. I mean, there's all kinds of teachers out there, right? And they will mention awake, an awakening. And I said, well, how can you tell if they're awakened or not? And she just looked at me, she said, look at how they live. And you can see the more that you're around the awakened ones, you will see they are disturbed by nothing. Meaning they live in life, they do everything. It's amazing to see how they live and experience what we experience, but they're not disturbed. And they have the wisdom. They have the compassion beyond anything you've ever seen.
And one simple thing from Awakened One shifted that. And that was the point that you don't meditate to try to find peace, because that won't happen. If you're trying to use your mind to create peace, you're going to just keep building up your mind. So we don't practice meditation to find peace. You practice meditation to realize who you are.
Welcome to Only the Greatest Podcast. If you're feeling stuck and unsure what to do next in your fitness journey, we might be what you're looking for. My name is Philip. I own and operate OTG Fitness, which is a private personal training gym on the south side of Houston in Webster. I do this podcast every week with my best friend, Daryl. We've been friends since third grade and working out together ever since. Also joining us today will be Chon. He's the one that makes this podcast not only sound great, but look good as well. Our goal here is to help Houston make its way up the ladder of health and fitness. So if you're in the Houston area and ready to become the greatest version of yourself, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. So we have Chon and Pho here from Universal Door, the Meditation Center. Why don't you guys just take a quick minute, tell us who you are, and then let's talk about what is Wake Up Meditation. Chon, do you want to go first? We've spoken a little bit, but tell us who you are, maybe how you got affiliated with the Meditation Center, and what you guys do now.
Okay, great. So my name is Jung, and I met Awakened Zen Master back in my early 20s as a wellness coach. And she said something to me that really sparked my interest. She said, did you know stress is not normal? And when I heard that, and I thought, no, but it is. And she said, no, to be normal is to live in the awake essence, where it's always open, fresh. You see things as they are. It's clear and bright and true happiness and true love. And I just thought, okay, I like the sound of that. How do you do that? How do you get there? So when I started with the classes and stuff, that was when I started to know who Awakened Zen Master was. And she's way beyond just any ordinary, just meditation teacher.
Oh, awesome. And if for anyone listening to this, the Awakened Zen Master, we're going to talk about who that is, how they came to be, and things like that here in a little bit. So yes. Awesome. And Pho, how about yourself?
Thanks, Phil. My name is Pho. Suko Pho Nguyen is my full name. But I got to know the Zen Master by chance. We met up in Michigan many years ago. And I came down to Houston to visit her. And during that visit, she was giving a talk to a whole room of people. And right there in that talk, it wasn't even what she said. It was something she asked, but it just hit dead center. Like inside me, it just was spot on. Like I didn't even know it, but there were certain perceptions and beliefs I carried in my life, and they just literally fell apart in that moment. And I had never experienced anything like that before. It was like, wow, it was very profound, clarity, joy, a lot of tears, just like, oh my gosh, something so heavy I carried my whole life. I didn't know until it fell apart. And that lightness and freedom, right at that moment, I just knew this is no ordinary teacher. This is far, much more than I ever thought possible.
Do you remember what that question was?
Oh, I sure do.
Yeah, can you tell us?
Sure. Throughout my life, I grew up with everything. I had everything that people dream of in their life. Plenty of love, plenty of education, support, finances, career, everything complete. And so therefore I felt like my purpose is to help others from the time I was little on all the way, my education, my jobs, career, everything was geared towards how can I help people? And so the question she asked in the room that day, the first one was, so when you help people, who benefits first? And quietly, deep inside, I knew when I help people, I feel better. I knew that the benefit was coming to me first. And then that kind of started things shaking back there. Like, truly, what's the motive to help somebody? Is it about them or is it about me? And then the second question was, when you help somebody, do you truly know how to help somebody? Meaning, how do you know what they truly need compared to, or you only know what you want to give them, or you only know to give them what they ask for? How do you know the difference between what that soul, that background, that whole complete person, what do they truly need? And I realized, I don't know. How can I know that answer? I just keep doing what I think is good for them or what they say they want. And I just realized, the whole picture fell apart. What am I really doing? Am I really helping anybody? Or I'm just building up my good person ego, my helper ego? What's going on? And then oh, wow. Just like something broke wide open at that moment, a lot of tears, and just realizing it's time for me to get square with myself and to discover about myself first. From that clarity, I can bring to others. So that's how the journey began.
And I'm sure it's evolved
It
quite
has.
a lot over how long? How long ago was this?
That was almost 20 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
And
okay.
I'm still here in Texas.
Oh, I love it. Well, I guess to answer the question of what is Wake Up Meditation, you guys have this demonstration that you brought. I know a little bit about what you guys do. I went to one of the, what would you call what I attended on that Sunday?
Like a wellness expo.
Okay. Yeah, well, I went on Sunday to the center.
On Sunday.
Yeah. Well,
that was that's the Awakened One's Wisdom Mind Opening Dharma Talks.
a Dharma talk.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I was describing it to someone, and I called it a service. I didn't know really what you guys would call it, but Denver went to a full retreat,
Yes.
a full day, and then I went the next day. And so I know what you guys do from that, but I've never experienced this presentation,
Water
which
demo.
is,
Oh,
if it
okay.
correct me if I'm wrong, but my thought is this demonstration is how you explain to people what awakenedness is. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
That's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, why don't you show us what it is? And then that way myself and anyone listening can, or watching, if you're not watching, you definitely want to be watching on YouTube for this one. So let's run through this real quick, and then I'll probably have a ton of questions.
Awesome.
But it can answer the question to anyone that's curious of what exactly is Wake Up Meditation.
Yes.
Great. Thanks, Phil. So truly, this demo, it came from Awakened Zen Master. It actually was the answer to a spontaneous question someone asked her at lunch one day, many years ago. They just said, they asked simply, what is it like to be awake? What's it like for you compared to my life? Or how do you see things compared to how I see things? And at that moment, she just said, I'll show you. And she had a glass of water in front of her. And she said, bring me one more of these and a little bit of dirt. And what she did in that spontaneous moment became this demo, and because it was so profound but so simple. Mm-hmm. So here we go.
Okay,
right?
awesome.
So when you look at these jars, you see these 4 jars. They all have something in common originally. Originally, all of them have what? Can you
Water.
guess? Water, yes. Yeah. What kind of water is the original water?
Regular, clear, non-dirty water. And if you're listening to this, there's 4 glasses sitting in front of me right now. 2 of them are clear. 2 of them have dirt or gravel in them, right? So
Yes.
Originally they were all just regular water.
Exactly, spot on. Originally, they were all clear water. So that's a really important part of here. So Awakened One, the moment that she awakened, or fully enlightened or awakened, she saw that all people have a chance to wake up. she saw the inside of all people is like our original is like this clear water inside of everybody. It doesn't matter your age or your background, your religion, your country, your culture. It doesn't matter. Everyone, your original clear. This is your original nature, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And anybody who is able to go back to that original clear, they come back to this state of being very clear, like an awakened one. But our normal people, our everyday life kind of looks more like this.
Murky, spinning,
you know this feeling?
uncontrollable chaos.
Right. The stress, the conflict, the fear, the sadness, anger, worry. Our everyday life looks like this. Mm-hmm. So at that moment in the original demo, Awakened Zen Master, so she was saying like, okay, so if your original is clear water, but your everyday life looks like this, aren't you kind of curious what happened? And we're like, well, yeah. So she said, it's very simple. From the time you're born, from outside of you, many things start to come to you. You didn't do anything, but automatically, like you're born, and someone just looks at you and says, oh, look, it's a boy or a girl, right? You are a son or a daughter. You're little or you're big. You're this or you're that. And moment by moment, all of this information starts to come from outside, right? And so it just comes into us. And with all that information also comes a lot of concepts and beliefs and labels and expectations, requirements, limitations, all packed around those words as they come into us. Even things like, you're good at math.
I'm thinking things like, you're poor, you're rich,
Or
you are any type of,
Yes.
kids are the worst, right? So kids, you go to school and they pick on each other. Each
Constantly.
one of those is a dump of unclarity.
You're so slow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You have to be a good person.
Yeah.
This is what's good. Well, good according to who? When, where, who says, right? This is bad. You're bad. Mm-hmm. Or this is bad. What is that?
Or this is ugly.
Yeah, you're ugly.
This is ugly. And
your shirt is different than mine.
Right.
Right.
Right. Or that label is so whatever, and all of this keeps coming in. This is your house, right? And this is my bicycle. This is my sibling. Here is what you have to do. Here's what
That's
you
a good one.
have to be. And if you don't you're not like that, then you become this. And you can see just day by day, everything starts to pile up in our jar. But Zen Master, she says, truly, the words are not the big deal. The labels, the words, they're just something to help us talk. But the problem is we forgot who we originally are. We forgot that this clear water is who we are in the beginning. And therefore, whatever gets put in the jar, we start to hold on to it. Like you can see, like this jar down here, there's a lot going on, right? We start to hold on to it. We start to believe it. It's all true. And we start to attach to it and identify with everything in the jar. I'm this, that's that. Here's right, wrong, good and bad. And so we hang on to it. This chopstick, this represents someone or something that doesn't match whatever got put in our jar, right? So here comes somebody who doesn't say or do what we have inside of us. And how do we feel?
Chaotic.
Or maybe this is like, this could be your parent or your sibling or someone at home, and they don't say or do what you think is okay. They accuse you of something you didn't do, or they took your stuff without asking. And this is how you feel at that moment. It's not okay.
It's like they're challenging that identity that you've been building for yourself.
Yeah, well, you've heard that saying, like they drive me crazy, like they're stir crazy.
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. You know, the third party comes in and just gets all of your thoughts, your emotions, all these past things you heard. Some kid called you fat when you were 7. Like you know, you got picked on. Chon and I talked about how when we were in middle school and stuff, like kids picking on us, and how certain people come into our life or certain statements are said, it takes us back.
Yep.
You know, so those things that were said,
it's still in there.
yeah, those things that were said is the dirt, but the
Yes.
statement that's in the moment is the chopstick.
Right.
So
And just like that, like for example, let's say you should always talk nice with people or talk soft voice. And guess what? Here comes somebody. They didn't talk nice or soft voice.
They stir it up.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Right. So simple.
sometimes that chopstick, though, it's not just people. It could be the weather. It could be traffic. Any external object basically is what that chopstick represents.
Right.
But then, yeah, so the question is, though, truly, who made you angry? Who made you suffer?
Was it yourself or the third party?
It's a great question because, you know, when we look like this, right? When we're feeling like this, tell me the truth, Phil, truly. What do most people say? What's the cause of this dirty water?
They blame others.
Yeah, external forces.
You got it, Sean. Right away, usually, naturally, we blame the chopstick, right? You said that made me angry. Or that situation made me scared, right? Because of that, I have this. Usually we live our life like that. But Zen Master points out something pretty powerful here. Okay, so if that was true, if it's because of this chopstick, right? This chopstick could be your boss. It could be the weather or the traffic. It could be the kid that called you fat. It could be whatever it is. Take that same boss, the same weather, whatever, and come on down here. Is there any problem?
Still clear?
Still clear. It's disturbed by nothing. So then we have to really question, is the problem the chopstick? Or what is the problem?
The water.
It's ourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ourself how?
Well, but what exactly?
The connection to the things? Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess not clearing that dirt, not getting rid of that and filtering out those old feelings and emotions that you have tied to the thing.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this guy right here. No chopstick, but it's still falling.
all by itself.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
still circulating. All the stuff that got put into that, it's all still there. It's just tumbling in the back somewhere and falling down at spontaneous moments. That's actually a very good detail, is that it appears inside of us. So this dirt in the bottom of our jar, things brought it from the outside, but the problem, we took it. We believed it was real. That name someone called us, it got stuck. We held on to it. Or that belief that, I always want to be cool and comfortable, and when it's hot and sticky outside, I'm not okay. We hold on to this stuff because we took it to be real. We forgot who we truly are, this clear water. If we truly know that this is our original nature, these things, they don't have that effect on us. Like this chopstick comes down here, not a problem. Still a chopstick, but not a problem.
That's right. Yeah, it's not causing any chaos. I keep coming back to the word chaos because
It's a good word.
That's what it looks like in there, you know. How do we let go of those things though, you know? Like what's the trick? What's the secret?
Great question. Usually the first step is we kind of naturally have to recognize something's wrong here. Like we don't want to live like this, right? When we're all stirred up and there's chaos inside, chaos outside. So most people, they go to find something to help settle down, right? Many, many different things out there. Some people will go call a friend or go out to eat or exercise or take a vacation or maybe pray, meditate. Whatever they do, they just want to settle down normally. So this is a pretty good example. This jar, you see it's all settled down. And look, the clear water starts to show up again, right? Because it is the original. It's already in there. But it doesn't last really long. As soon as you finish your exercise, as soon as you come back from your vacation, you pick up your phone and there's a message from somebody saying something you just don't feel okay with. And what happens to our
Starts all
serenity?
over.
Yeah, you're right back where you.
And we go right back to the first jar. And truly, we spend our whole life between jar 1 and jar 2 because we think that's normal. Everybody's got this. The best we can do is just try to settle it down, but then it somehow gets stirred back up and we're stuck. So this is the key part. We're stuck there until we start to find out about clear water. When we have the chance to meet somebody who opens our mind that this is the original, this is truly, you have the potential to wake up. Stress is not normal. Like Jen said in the beginning, the statement from Zen Master that caught her ears right away was stress. It's not normal? What do you mean? At that moment, another door opens. So you start to find out, wait a minute, what is this? So from here, a new door opens. You don't have to stay stuck in this jar. It's possible to continue all the way back to the clear water. That's the specialty of an awakened one. Anybody who has completely returned back to the clear water for themselves, we call them awakened. It means they woke up. They woke up from the system. They're no longer trapped in the cycle. So anyone who has gone back to their clear original, we just say awakened or enlightened, that person has a capacity to help others step by step. And that's the great vow of our Zen master. That's her purpose. From the moment she awakened, she saw everybody can do this, but they didn't know. Everybody has clear water, but nobody told them. You don't have to stay stuck here. And so the vow appeared in her to help all people, not just settle down, but keep going. And she will help us. She can help to unlock the part we can't see yet. You know, it's pretty hard to see what exactly is going on in here, right? It's pretty murky. Mm-hmm. Even worse, this one down here, it's really hard to see what's in the bottom of the jar. Why does this pattern keep repeating in me? Why does the same person always make me this certain feeling come up? What's going on and why I can't get out of that addiction, or why am I still stuck? That's the specialty of someone here, that they can help us open and guide us. And that's what she was doing the Sunday that you attended with the whole room. Could you feel that? Could you feel how people were having those aha moments? And
I mean, myself included. Mm-hmm. You know,
Yeah.
I'll share my experience of that day. What we talked about on that day was it's not your view of the world that's the problem. It's your attachment to that view. And yeah, that was very much an aha type of moment for me. And I thought that it was really great. It's very interesting. And I've thought about it a lot, you know, since then, but it slips away.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, it slips away. So I'm assuming that, and I'd like to ask too, like you're using terms awakened and enlightened. Are those the same thing? Just real quick. Okay. So same thing there. Cause I've heard the word enlightened before, you know, but I've never heard the term awakened, I guess. But so it's very difficult to get back to this state.
Yeah,
you can do it for a few minutes.
It's so hard to keep that stuff front of mind. It's so hard.
You feel like you do it for a few minutes, but then like an hour or two later, it creeps back in. Mm-hmm. How many of these people are there in the world, I guess? Do you know?
We only know of two.
Two?
We've met two.
Okay. And how do we know? Is it just something that you can just tell when you talk? Obviously, like I met this person. Yeah. And there is definitely something going on there, right? Yeah, you can definitely tell. Yeah. But what is the signal to them? How do they know, and how do they present that to you? I guess is kind of, you know, the question, right?
That's a really good question, actually, because I had a very similar question. When I met Awakened Zen Master Tidyuting, right, in the beginning, at that time I had read a lot of books too. I mean, there's all kinds of teachers out there, right? And they will mention awake, an awakening. I said, well, how can you tell if they're awakened or not? And she just looked at me. She said, look at how they live.
They're real.
And you can see the more that you're around the awakened ones, you will see they are disturbed by nothing. meaning they live in life, they do everything. It's amazing to see how they live and experience what we experience, but they're not disturbed, and they have the wisdom. They have the compassion beyond anything you've ever seen, but it's in how they live. Because I actually, during that time, I did my research and investigated, and, I went to another teacher at one point, and he talked about very similar awakening. But when I interacted with him, he got really angry about something, like really angry, and I could feel it. I could feel how angry he was inside, even though on his mind he's teaching about, letting go or whatnot. But in him, in that live moment, he was really upset with me about something. And I thought, so that's what she meant by how they live. And you can feel that, just absolutely disturbed by nothing, but this true love, true happiness in her at all times.
And side question, are you guys, the position that you're in right now, you've been in this lifestyle or, in this for 20 years. Yeah. Are you guys working towards that state yourself? Is that yes. your role in this or your job in this whole thing? Can you kind of break that down for me real quick, like how that works?
Yes, that's exactly our goal. Like our destination is to completely get back to that clear water, to transform everything in the jar and to come back here. For me, I had no idea anything about that before. I grew up, I'm the youngest of a huge traditional Catholic family, and I had no idea about even meditation or awakening or karma or habit energy, or no idea until I met Awakened One. And just being around her day in and day out, and feeling and observing her awake living, it's unlike anything you've seen anywhere with anyone. And you can truly feel it. The wisdom is so profound. It's really deep. And it's all the time. It's in every natural moment, whether she is sweeping the floor or talking to 1,000 people, is the same. She could be brushing her teeth. She could be writing something, but you will feel the wisdom. Like when she opens something or points out something, it's not just like one layer. There's so many layers instantly open. And the compassion is so pure. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced.
Do you feel like you're going to reach that in this lifetime?
I do. Yes. I do.
Do you mind if I ask, what's the timeline on something like that?
Completely, it depends on each person individually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the amount of dirt that everyone puts in is different.
That's a great point.
So when you're growing up...
Mine's pretty full.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, if you have siblings, right? You have the same parents. But why is it that the personalities are different? And, you're taught the same thing, right? But why does someone pick up something or like something and the other sibling does not, right? So everyone's amount of dirty water that they come into, why are some people born so talented? There's so many, questions right there. Right. So it depends on everyone's karma, and it depends on the question that they have, because there are some people who go through life and they may not have any questions. They just think, okay, yeah, this life is fine the way it is. They don't have questions. If you don't have questions, then every day, why would you wake up and want to have this goal to become clear water? Why not just live every day in your habit energy and do what you do? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like this is freedom.
It is.
Yeah.
Almost.
True freedom.
It's kind of, that's just my perception.
Yeah.
Right.
That's spot on.
Is that your goal every day is to work a little bit closer to true freedom.
To wake up to who we truly are.
Yeah.
To get back to the clear water. Because of all this stuff that we've put in, now we see that that's not the real us. It's not the absolute truth. It's things that we've borrowed. We borrow from society. We borrow from our culture, our family, school. All these things we put in and we attach to it as the truth and as real. And that's where all the stress and suffering starts coming from. Because, it's like once we hold on to that, we expect everyone to think the way we think and do as we do.
Value.
And that's what causes all the chaos in this world, is one person fighting against another one's good, right, wrong, bad.
Do you guys spend very much time thinking about why that is?
Well, I think it's really clear. Like after we saw this demo, we were like, oh, That's why. It's everybody saying, oh, my dirty water's better than your dirty water.
But I guess I'm asking, like, why do we feel that way? Like, why do we feel like my water is more important than their water, right? Why? Because it seems like in today's world, when you talk to people, it's like almost an argument for who's doing more, who has more on their plate, who's busier, right? Why is that going on? Do you guys ever think about that?
I think about it in terms of what causes me more dirty water days or more suffering, or what helps me to move and connect back to my clear water. In terms of the more that I attach to my beliefs, my concepts, whatever got put in my jar, the more I believe that that is real and solid and that's me. And the more I limit myself to that, the more I'm going to suffer when something comes into my field that I'm not okay with. But when I realize, oh, wait a minute, that's just something in the jar, but it's not who I truly am. When we have a chance to connect with this, when Awakened One opens mind like you felt on Sunday, and the more she opens mind with us, we truly get to experience this very deeply. In here, this one doesn't have the same effect.
You know what I just thought of it as you were I was thinking about what you were saying, kind of putting my own thoughts. This is the comfort zone.
Yes.
That's what
familiar.
it is.
Yes,
Yes, it's
that's
familiar.
True. Yes.
It's easy. It's comfortable. But to start moving in this direction,
Yeah.
it's kind of uncomfortable. You have to face those demons.
Yes.
You have to face your past. And that's
You
probably
got to filter out your water.
yeah, that's one of the reasons that it's so difficult. I'm sure there's more to it, but as you were speaking, that's kind of what I'm thinking, you know. And what about, like, what's the problem long term with never moving in this direction? Like, do you guys feel like there are repercussions, like like an afterlife, or, you know, obviously in the current life, you're not living to your fullest potential if you're not moving in the right direction. But is there anything else that kind of comes up to repercussions to not moving in the right direction?
You just build more. It means everything that you encounter in your life is just going straight in, and you hold it and you attach. I'm right. This is true. This is me. You. And the more you put in here, the more you have to fight and have conflict with every single thing that doesn't exactly match what's in your jar. And that is painful.
It is. I agree. And going back to what you said earlier, the stress being normal, my personal opinion, and I'm from the health and fitness, for the fitness perspective, right? People being healthy, the way that they eat, their activity levels, right? That's what my days revolve around often. I personally think that people are so used to feeling bad that they forget what it's like to feel good, because they eat unhealthy, they don't exercise. Feeling bad becomes normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
They just kind of get stuck there.
This is normal.
Right.
And some people, not only they believe it, they'll fight for that.
Because it's comfort zone.
Yeah.
Comfort zone.
And don't mess with mine.
Yeah. And it's almost like we feel the need to defend it.
Yeah, don't touch my dirty water.
Yeah.
Don't
We
touch
feel
my
the
dirty
need.
water.
And, I have definitely been there in this situation myself, where if someone is maybe accusing you of something, then you feel the need to defend that position. When in reality, the answer is to just let it go
Right.
and start moving in the direction of clarity.
Right. Like when Zen Master, she showed us, this is the thing that you believe. When you attach to it really strong, right, you're going to be caught in that defending and fighting, forever. But when we start to recognize that as a problem that's making me suffer and making everybody else miserable too, when we start to recognize that and we start to, we begin to question that, and we begin to start to recognize and feel this, we start to open. And even the thing, it may still be there, but it doesn't have the same effect. Like, it's there, it's okay. It's not, you're not fighting. It's all about the attachment. She's showed us about, we wake up from the attachment. instead of,
And the purpose of the awakened ones is to help us, other people in the world, start to loosen that grasp, right?
Yes.
So at any given time, and I'm not sure of the history or anything, so maybe you guys can help us out here, but at any given time, are there always usually like one or two people in the world that have reached this state that are kind of helping everyone else? Or how has that kind of evolved over the history of this?
Well, we've heard from awakened ones how it's truly extremely rare.
Okay.
Like, for example, there's many layers or levels of waking up, right? Of awakening. And for example, I'm sure we've all heard or read of some people who they've touched this because of course it's there, right? It's our original nature. So of course many people can refer to it or talk about it. And some have truly touched it. But to meet somebody who has not only touched it, but fully returned, and this whole system collapses, like gone, completely gone, ending the ecosystem, that's the one that is extremely rare. We've only heard of just very few throughout history that have gotten to that point.
Yeah, and you use the term ego.
Yes.
So the comfort zone is ego. Can you define can you define, obviously when I hear the word ego, I have certain thoughts, but can you define your version of the ego?
I would say this is all like the ego system. Mm-hmm. The ego is what we hold on to and believe and perceptions and personality, all the things that got put in the jar.
Right. Yeah. Everything. I mean, our ego is alive in us this moment. The thing that is right, wrong, good, bad, all the knowledge put in there, that whole system of what we see, taste, touch, feel, that whole system that we collect in here and we build up as this is me.
Mm-hmm. And the goal of the awakened one is to help you release that ego.
By help you to realize who you truly are.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you realize who you are, this one automatically
it just fades away.
It goes its way.
Yeah, it
will
away.
fade. And then any of the really core things in there, the really stuck, difficult ones, she will help. She will help you to open that.
Are there specific practices that are done to help you and anyone else start to move in this direction?
This is where we get into what is wake-up meditation.
Okay.
This is all a part of the wake-up meditation. The purpose is to realize who you truly are and all the stuff that you are not. So she starts out with basic meditation, right? Bring mind and body together, breathing, aware of our breathing, and that brings us to the middle jar. But the purpose is not to stay in the middle jar. The purpose is to return back to your clear water. That's really important. The purpose changes everything. So first we settle down with that purpose. But from there, we continue to transform. And this is where the interacting with Awakened One, this is where she, in the live living, helps us to transform the parts we couldn't see clearly.
Yeah, so I feel like this is maybe where I was on Sunday.
Yes.
You have the realization.
Yes.
And you kind of suppress all the things. But then, you wake up Monday morning and you're back to regular life.
That's why the classes and retreats to nourish that, because every day, what are we in a world full of? It's a magnet out there to the dirty water. Mm-hmm. And that's why she has the International Wake Up Center. It's a place for people to come and truly just kind of, put that aside for a little bit and go in, take time to get to know yourself, your true self. And through the sitting meditation, when you actually sit down and you're not distracted by your cell phones, you're not distracted by the TV, you're not busy at work, you're not taking care of other things, you have a chance to truly sit down and really experience this. The awake that can see the dirty water moving. Like when the thoughts come up, when the feelings come up, when the memories, like all these things that come up, you get a chance to truly see what all has been locked in here. And then get to see truly what is real, what is not real.
Is that what you would define as the meditative approach? As in, like,
Wake up.
Yeah,
Yes.
whenever you have a situation going on. You mentioned sitting meditation. I'd like you to expand upon that, but I'm assuming that something comes up. The meditative approach is to sit down for a minute,
Breathe. Settle down.
Yep. Connect to your thoughts, meditate for X amount of time. Maybe you can help us with that, like how long that process kind of takes. But that is the meditative approach, right?
That's just a tool. That's just
okay.
one piece of it.
Okay.
So sitting meditation is the foundation. And then throughout the day, for example, if you do the 1 day meditation, it's not just sitting, because no one sits a whole day, right? So how do you bring that into your walking, your eating, your working, every single thing that you do, so it becomes a living? Your life is transforming in each and every moment. It's not just when you take time to sit, but in the beginning, that's just the first part of it.
Is that the easiest way, maybe?
For some people.
Yeah.
For
Some people like
people,
different.
yeah. Some
types.
connect to sitting, and for
Some-
some
yeah.
people, they feel more connected to, for example, walking meditation.
Or movement.
Yeah, I thought the movement one really is intriguing to me because I feel like, and this is just my experience. My experience of meditation is pretty slim. It's not a lot, to be honest. I just really struggle with sitting still and trying to do that. Now, I've never tried to do a movement of meditation, but I feel like exercise or running.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like kind of running has turned into like a movement form of meditation for me. Like, of course, I'm listening to like a podcast or like music or something, but I feel like you kind of zen out, and it's like all I'm worrying about is the movement of my feet,
Yes.
how I'm breathing, probably where my pace is, and whatever I'm listening to. It's like those 3 or 4 things, and that's it. When all day you're worrying about everything else, you know, what's being posted online, you know, the election, how your mom's doing, how your dad's doing, how your family's doing. And it's like, I get these 4 things, and that's it. And I'm cool for like an hour.
Would you consider that a form of meditation at that
Absolutely.
point? Do you usually recommend it being quiet or there's music involved? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Like I can carry it with me. Even like, for example, when I'm talking to you, the meditation is this, like, right, connecting back to this and then seeing that. It's kind of like Awakened Zen Master gave this example. I love this one. Like you're sitting in a movie theater, right? But you're not the actor or the actress on the stage, right? You're the person sitting in the audience watching the movie unfold. It's like you're watching yourself,
Your own life.
your ego, right, side unfold.
And you're kinda-
because every day we live like this. There's two. There's the ego and the awake in us. And every
Clear
day,
water and dirty
yes,
water.
the clear water and dirty water. It's mixed in, like you see right there. It's mixed in, right? But when you start to meditate, you see that's why this jar where it starts to separate, you'll see clearly there's 2 of you, right? But which one is the real you? Which one? The ego is the one that causes all the chaos. Right, wrong, good, bad, compare, judge, high, low. That's the ego side that talks and causes all the stress, all that. Whereas the awake side is the clear side that can see everything, know everything, aware. It's beyond awareness. So that's why she kept saying that you have to have a purpose to go back to clear water and not just stop in the middle jars. If not, you keep going back and forth. You can manage, but when something big happens in your life, it still goes back. So that's the specialty of awakened ones, is they're not a Band-Aid. They're not here to help us manage, but they're here to help us get to the root so that that's stuck in us, all those attachments, truly break apart. And done is done. That's the difference.
Yeah, so we're not looking for a Band-Aid.
No.
Right.
That would
We
be
wanna-
temporary.
I do have a question about the awakened one and like, you know, dealing with these emotions and things like that. I feel that, you know, going through emotions, I've always thought that was a very like human experience. You know, you experience anger, you experience sadness, happiness, and you experience the full range of those emotions. But as an awakened one, from what I'm getting, it seems like you've reached this moment of clarity where those things don't really affect you in the same way. I guess, how do they experience these emotions? Like, I mean, they have to get angry, they have to get sad. They, you know, I mean, I would imagine, I'm just saying, it's just an assumption. How do they experience those, or do they at all?
truly the very best answer to that would come directly from the awakened one. Because, we're not in that pure state yet. But I have heard her say that, like anger and sadness and fear, those things, that doesn't arise in her. But it doesn't mean that she's not fully interactive and alive and fresh. And when you meet her, you will feel she's very engaging. She's very funny. As you know, Phil,
Sure.
She's very lively. But for example, usually we feel the fear and the anger and the judging. That's usually because of our dirty water. We're reacting to something. But if you don't have the stuff in your jar forcing you to be angry or fearful or criticizing somebody, you look like this. You're still open. So there's no anger to arise here. There's just pure understanding why that happened. Who is that? What is inside of them causing that? It's just pure, can see everything as it is.
I kind of feel like it's just pure is a good word. It's just a pure assessment of the situation at hand.
Yeah.
With no emotion.
Yeah, nothing's tied, no strings attached. It's just like, this is the situation as it is. And I have no prior or no like future feelings towards it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll tell a quick story. When I was there on Sunday, that there was a man there that asked him some questions about his nephew. I think it was his nephew. And he had a teenage nephew who was really struggling with some social media and violence issues. And if I would have been speaking to this person, I can very much say that, frustration would have started to arise and things like that. And I felt like the message was very clear. There was not a lot of emotion attached to it. It just is. And I think that someone that has emotion about a situation, it's next to impossible. And it's easy for me to say that from the outside looking, like I'm watching the interaction, right? But if that interaction, I can understand how someone that's in that moment is unable to make a clear visual of what's going on. You have to come into that with zero. It's almost like you don't want to know the context of the situation because it really doesn't matter. The context is irrelevant if we're actually looking at it from a clear picture, and I remember thinking about that quite a bit. It's a very interesting interaction.
Yeah.
And then I had some questions myself as well that were really fun to do. I'd like to talk more about implementing meditation into your daily life, though. So you talked a little bit about, finding a way that works for you. Do you have specific recommendations to help someone do that? Is there like a step-by-step, process of finding what works for you, how to assess the situation, how to connect to your breathing, and how to kind of let things go and feel that separation? It's almost like you're watching your own life in a movie. Do you have specific recommendations for how to help someone do that?
My first recommendation would be come to a retreat.
Okay. Okay. Well, why don't you tell us what that looks like then? Then we'll kind of go
Because
from there.
in there, you get the whole package. You get the real chance to experience for yourself and find out. Apply it. Ask questions. Only then is it real for each person. And so in a retreat, we would talk more. First, make sure to talk about what is awake. We talk about clear water in this analogy, and help people to truly understand and feel that those two things are always inside of us. Like even see this the jar of dirty water, right? Even there's stuff in there, but this jar, it has as much clear water as this one. Right?
That's so true.
The original nature. It was the opening question that Zen Master asked that day many years ago. The original nature is clear. And it has as much clear as this one, but something else also happened to it. So usually when we look at this jar, we don't think about clear water, right? We look at this jar and we say, oh, it's dirty, it's gross, it's this, it's that. And we always comment and relate to the dirt part.
Not the water part.
Right. And that's the same thing in ourselves. We always pick at whatever is bothering us. We analyze. We look at other people's dirty water. We compare dirty waters. We spend all of our time talking and looking and trying to fix and manage dirty water. And instead, if we connect to the clear water, truly this has tremendous power, the power of awake to transform the dirty water. And then, of course, the most important part is you have a living, awakened one to help you and to guide you step by step. So the most important thing for someone stepping in to find out, I would say, come to a retreat. Or if that seems like too much, come and drop in. We have an open Tuesday night from 7 to 8:30. It's free. You can find out a lot of these basics right there and get started that way. But at least in a retreat, you have more time. You give yourself a whole day. And you can listen, you can receive, you can have space with yourself.
Yeah,
apply different kinds of meditation. But what's really important in all of them is to be clear about the purpose. The purpose will determine your result.
Can you expand on that? What do you mean by that?
Like, for example, let's say if you're going to drive somewhere and you're going to use GPS, right? If I put my GPS for middle jar, I'm going to end up here. Right? If my purpose is just calm down, I just want some calm. I just want a little bit of quiet in my head. I just want that, then that's where I'm going to end up. But if your GPS is, I want to go back to the original. I want to know who I truly am. I want to connect back to clear water. You won't stop here. You'll recognize that you have a little bit of calm, but that's not your purpose. Your purpose is here. And of course, in here, naturally and automatically, there is calm, there is clarity, there is wisdom, there's stability, there's bright, there's fresh, there's vast. All of it is available here. So it's really important, the purpose, and that's what we help people connect to when they first come.
That is such a good point.
I have something also to
Sure,
share
please.
on, because when I met Dinner, we were talking on this topic somehow, and the thing that I gave an example at that moment, I said, have you ever met someone and it's like you see them, you haven't seen them in a long time, but you see them and all of a sudden there's all this reaction inside. Like maybe they hurt you at some point and you're angry still and you haven't seen them in a long time, but some reason they appear in front of you and then now all those memories come back and everything. And in that moment, you're just very upset when you see them. So it's the same thing like what she was saying about purpose. If your purpose in that moment is just, okay, treat every day like every day, and you don't have the purpose to go back to clear water, and you just want to live every day like what you're doing, then in that moment, you would get angry, upset, and then say something maybe, and close your door to them. Versus if you have that purpose of, okay, I want to wake up from that. I want to end that system, that ego system that controls me, because in that moment, the anger appeared, and all this stuff happened.
And the heartbeat.
Right.
And
your
heat,
heart's beat.
and
Yeah.
the
All these
sweaty.
things that's happening that's controlling you in that moment. And you can only react. But if you have purpose in that moment, you have space. And in that space, you start to see the thought appear. Oh, I don't like them. This is what they did to me a long time ago. Or, that comes up and you follow that. So that's where you're one with it. So that's the difference when you have purpose to truly, in each moment, because the ego is running in each moment. The dirty water in us is always there. So unless you have the purpose to become clear water, then that's when it shifts.
Yeah, it's funny. We talk about the same thing when I'm talking to a potential client that has health and fitness goals, right? They want to lose weight or whatever. We always make sure that we find the purpose. And I often use the GPS reference myself. I really like, if you get in your car and you pull out your GPS and you just say go with no destination.
Right. Where
are
you going to go?
Where are you going? Where are you going? So we have to find the end goal. And so I'm really glad that you led with that. I think that's, it's very interesting. And I want people to know that too, when you're speaking of these retreats, they're a full day, right? They're $100, right? Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
includes lunch, vegetarian lunch,
and
snacks.
It's one day. And so if you can get away for one day to experience something like this
for yourself.
and then I almost think that, and this is no offense to you guys, but it almost feels impossible to move to the clear water. And so I think a big part of maybe going to a retreat and getting is just knowing that it's possible at all.
Yes. Agree.
What do you say to someone? Because, and this is just me thinking about someone listening to this right now. 20 years, how long?
As ordained?
Like how long have you been on this mission, I guess?
Oh, yeah. I mean, 27. I met Zen Master. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
Zen Master.
And it's still a work in progress, right? Mm-hmm. So what do you say to someone that says, like, I can't dedicate my whole life to this. This is something I can spend a little bit of time on. I want to, but it just feels impossible. What do you say to that person?
Two things pop up right away. Number one, it's not about time. Truly. This has nothing to do with time, this process.
Okay.
It has to do with your question, and related to that, your purpose. If some people naturally, they've had a lot of questions their whole life. Some people just naturally, like, why am I here? What's the purpose of life? Where did I come from? Where am I going to go when I die? Why am I always angry? Why do bad things happen all the time? Or where is there true peace in this world? Whatever, people who have the questions that really stay with them, people with those restless questions, they move very quickly. Because they know they're not okay. Mm-hmm. They know the way things are is not okay. They can't truly feel peaceful or content. And they are looking for a better answer. Those people move quickly. I have seen people walk in the door and one moment just observing Awakened Zen Master, and they right away they know that's the one who can help me. There, I always knew there would be the right person. People walking in the door can be what took me 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to find out, because I didn't have a strong question. Remember, I shared my biography. I had everything in life. I was very comfortable. I wasn't missing anything. And I thought my purpose was to help others. So I felt okay where I was. Even my jar is full of stuff, but I thought it was all good stuff.
Don't we all?
So I didn't have something driving me forward, whereas somebody who has stronger questions, they will move very quickly. Actually, Awakened One, she had to help me develop my questions. She had to help me face the truth about myself in order to have the reason to go to clear water. So I'm in a special group of kind of mutant people on this clear water path. I had to first find out that I have dirty water.
Yeah. You just knew that it was the right thing.
I just saw her and I knew this is no ordinary thing. Like that kind of wisdom and that kind of clarity, this is the purpose of life. That's what clicked to me, but I didn't yet have a problem. So I'm not even in my car, but I have my GPS telling me to go somewhere. So It took me a while to get in my car and to have the reason. But for different people, they can go so quickly.
Yeah, and I think my opinion on that, I was curious of what you guys had to say on that, but my opinion on that is that the real skill here is to develop a way to assess situations in a day-to-day situation. Right? I want to do my best to start to separate what I think the view of right and wrong should be from actually doing the right thing in my life. Like I want to assess a situation, take my emotion out of it, and then do the right thing.
Like to see it clearly.
Yes.
To see that clear, to see yourself clear and not be dragging by your attachments. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one of my things, people often, in my background, I had a regular, 9-to-5 job, and I left my job to do fitness, full time. A lot of people will ask, like, hey, what's it like to be an entrepreneur? Like, what's your favorite part? Do you like, being a business owner better than, and stuff like that? And what I always come back to is that as an entrepreneur, my favorite part is the ability to fulfill my own potential. having a clear picture of what is in front of us every day gives, in my opinion, me more ability to fulfill that potential. Getting rid of the particles, getting rid of the dirty water, the potential will be fulfilled. Bigger, better, faster.
Yes.
And that's kind of my outlook, on the whole thing. And so I just want to make sure that people hearing this for the first time know that it is possible and advantageous to have this ability to assess situations, to watch yourself in a movie.
Yes.
And approach it with no emotion and allow yourself to make the right decision at any point.
Approach it through clarity,
Yes.
through the wisdom. So I don't know, as you were talking, suddenly this appeared to me. Like, for example, you have a client, right? And they're working on a diet, for example, right? And they open the refrigerator and they see their favorite food. Immediately, the thought will come up like, oh man, that's so good.
Oh, yes.
I want a piece of
That's
I
me
want a
every
piece
day.
of that.
I want the whole thing.
So in that moment right there, that voice that popped up is the dirty water.
That is so true.
Can you catch that in that moment?
Yeah.
Are you with that purpose of, okay, every moment now I want to wake up to my true self, the clarity, and not follow my habit energy that keeps me stuck in whatever I'm stuck in. So that's just one example of how it happens in day-to-day life. But we start you off with just basic sitting so that you can start slowly that foundation. And it's different for everyone, kind of like when you were asking that question, the other question, the image of sitting in a classroom, right? Everyone's going to graduate, but some may be very fast. They have that capacity, right? And so they can move fast. So it's different for every single person that comes. That's why when you walk in a room there, in the wisdom mind opening talk with Awaken One you take, you will see many different levels, many different people, but they all will receive some kind of wake up moment or realization based on where they are at that moment. So it's different. There's no answer to that. Yeah.
What is the future of it's Universal Door Meditation
Meditation
Center, right? So what are the plans? I remember when we were there, you guys talked about like an expansion and kind of growing and stuff like that. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about that and what exactly happens at the center, on a day-to-day basis?
Our future plan is right now appearing. It's like unfolding, like right now, and that is to fully develop the 9-acre property as full-time running, active and vibrant international wake-up retreat center.
That's her vow. Her vow is to wake up the world, is to bring everyone back to this. Because she sees everyone suffering every day in that.
They think that this is who they are.
She appeared in this world knowing this exists and that she's got to go back to this. And after she fully awakened in 2001, that was when she opened the center in 2003 and started classes and having it available for people to come and start to really live it, apply it and live it.
And it's been kind of slowly growing over the past 20 years?
Yes, it's been growing. Well, we outgrew the original property, which is about a mile away from where we met you.
Okay.
So we're now on the 9-acre property, but of course it's too small. We just have the one main building and a small support building. So right now what's happening is the full master plan with the main hall that can hold all the people who are coming. It has the residence for people to come and stay on retreats, whether it's 1 day, 3 days, a week, a month, whatever. It has the capacity, like a multi-purpose activity hall that can handle all the dynamic things that are going on, youth and teen program, all kinds of stuff. It'll have a different quarters for the monks and the nuns who are full-time residents.
Do you guys live there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's what's happening with us right now is we're actively developing that. Awaken One's vision and vow is manifesting. So that's our main activity right now.
Awesome. And where do you see yourselves in that growth? I'm assuming that how many people are on staff here or what?
Ordained.
Yeah, okay.
Of their monastics.
Okay.
About 20 something. Because aside from Sugarland, so we mentioned earlier, there's another awakened Zen master. His name is Awaken Zen Master Thich Tông Hoi, and he's the co-founder of the one in Dallas.
Okay.
So we have a center in Dallas as well. But we have in between those two about 20.
So Sugarland and Dallas are the two locations right now.
Yes.
Sugarland is currently 9 acres, 2 buildings. And y'all are going to stay on that 9-acre property and just expand it, make it a little bigger, so you can hold bigger, longer, better retreats. Is that the main goal?
Yes, to help the place for people to easily come from all around the world, where they can come and they can stay. They can receive the teachings, the mind-opening teachings from Awakened One, in order to find out who they truly are, and to be in the place where she can open for them. That's the important thing is, we can read and we can hear and we can, oh, wow, wonderful. But you have to be truly in front of her for her to open the parts that we can't see yet, the parts that not open up easily on their own. So that's the chance for people to meet her and find her.
What's the day-to-day look like currently for you guys and on the property? How many days a week are y'all having gatherings where people can come, services and stuff like that?
Our daily schedule, we wake up at 4 and we have an early sitting at 4:30. Almost like everyone has their normal schedule, right? We have breakfast at 7. We do all different kinds of tasks and activities, but everything has this purpose. It's like we're working that to carry that meditation or that clear water purpose in everything. Whether some people are working in the garden, some might be in the kitchen, some might be doing
Office work.
Digging something out in the yard, or repair, maintenance, office work, outreach. We all have different jobs, and we rotate them too.
Okay.
And we have our meals on time through the day. We have a breakfast, a lunch, a dinner, and there's just periods of time where sometimes we have our sitting practice. Sometimes we have classes. Toward the evening is usually where we have meditation classes that people will join. Once a week or twice a week. We have the Tuesday night intro session every Tuesday night. Sundays is when Awakened One will talk, open. It's the public can come, but it depends if she's traveling or teaching where. But as long as she's in town, she will open wisdom for us on Sundays, and so we have a whole Sunday program. We have our one-day retreats on a Saturday once a month. And
so those are only monthly?
Right, at this moment.
This moment. Sundays, we also have youth and teen program. So sometimes the parents come, and they'll come to listen to the Wisdom Mind Opening Talk. And then the youth and teens will go separately to their classroom and get the clear water on their level.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So it's something for everyone,
Yes.
from kids to adults, right? Everyone can benefit.
Yes.
And truly, in the beginning, when I first saw this, and Awaken One changed my life like that, in my heart, I was just like, wow, if just one person out of each family knew about this. So truly, it already changes your karma. It changes everything. And the communication, the listening, the interaction between people, whether it's, parents and children, or husbands and wives, or siblings, it completely changes. And everyone feels the effect, because now that they see you and you're not reacting the way the ego would react, and you can truly hear and communicate, it totally changes the dynamics. So that's why truly even one person already changes the whole family. But if two can go and truly understand each other, then when you go home, you have that support versus, every day, let's say you come to a retreat. Yes, you will get what you can, but how do you nourish that? Who support you? Who supports you at home when everyone and everything outside is the other magnet of the dirty water? Yeah.
And then the relationship between those people has tremendous transformations. Like we have countless examples of the dynamics shifting between parents and kids, between husbands and wives, between siblings. It's amazing. Everything shifts with clear water.
Yeah, because they no longer have the dirtiness in each of them.
They're
each other.
They're all with this goal.
Yeah.
They're all wanting to purify.
And they're viewing it from a clear perspective.
Yeah.
So you're supporting each other too. You're shifting everything. So imagine everything that the ego is, judging, blaming, comparing, all that up, down duality. And then you come into transforming to get to here. So it's very supportive, because you'll see it just how you are on a day-to-day basis, the clarity, everything shifts.
Yeah.
The understanding, the true love. Yeah.
Is there anything that we missed? Anything else you guys want to mention before we kind of start to wrap up?
I think just for the basics of, this clear water demo is just that there's 3 really dynamic, important things to remember is that, number 1, awakened ones have returned back to clear water.
It's possible.
And they are showing us truly that we are clear water. They're the ones that really told us. We never knew had they not appeared. We would never know that we're clear water. Everyone would be back and forth between the middle jars and swirling in this, never knowing that there's a true solution and a way out. And then number 2 is that every day, the suffering that we experience, the anxiety, the fears and everything, it's not because of anyone else. When we start to get that point and we start to look inside, that's where the shift starts to happen because now we work on ourselves, right? There's no more blaming. There's no more of that on the outside. And then the third thing is that in the end, the ultimate purpose is to come back to the clear water. And it is possible because everyone that comes to Awakened Zen Master at some point in their life, they will have experienced this. Deep levels, shallow levels, they have touched with this. And that's why they know it's real, it's true, it's possible, and it can happen. It's just a matter of time. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what background they came from. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Like some people are like, oh man, I have way too much dirt. There's no way I can do this. No, not at all. Yeah. Because we don't focus on the dirt. Just connect to your clear water. And that's an analogy. There is an analogy from Awakened One that many people connect to, and it's the image of a sun and clouds. The sun is always shining, right? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it happens to be. She chose it on purpose. It's the cover of this awesome little book. It looks so simple and small, but this thing is powerful. It just got a short little teaching on each page, but this book, The Power of Awake. She chose this picture on the front because the sun is exactly like our clear water. That original awake essence is always there. The sun is always there, whether it's cloudy, whether it's snowing, whether it's nighttime, it's still there in the sky. You just can't see it or experience it at that moment. And that's kind of like us when we're having those really dark days and we feel so totally covered. And it's like, yeah, that would be like when the clouds are covering. But she points out to us that truly the power of the sun has capacity to melt the clouds. It's just a matter of time. The clouds can't stand up to the sun. So don't worry about your clouds. Don't worry about all the dirt in the jar, and don't worry about anyone else's dirt in their jar. Just connect to the sun. Connect to your clear water, and the power of that can dissipate the clouds. And then, of course, because she has fully returned to that clear water, she's there for us. She will guide us step by step. And when she looks at each person, she sees each one exactly as you are. Therefore, she knows exactly what is going to help Phil. She knows exactly what analogy is going to be helpful for Chon. She will know each person how to open and bring them back to their clear water. So I really just want to emphasize for anyone out there who's feeling like, I'm too, it's too difficult. I'm too much dirt in my jar. Or I can't get started, or I can't meditate. My mind is crazy. Well, I have one of those super busy thinking minds too. And one simple thing from Awakened One shifted that. And that was the point that you don't meditate to try to find peace, because that won't happen. If you're trying to use your mind to create peace, you're going to just keep building up your mind. So we don't practice meditation to find peace. You practice meditation to realize who you are. So when you sit down and you meditate and your thoughts start going like this, that's not a problem, because you just recognize that your thoughts are spinning all over. You recognize, oh man, chaos. And you come back to your clear water.
But that's when you remember that it's mostly water. And there's still clear water in there.
Yes.
We just have to separate. Like you're watching yourself in a movie.
Right.
You separate it.
You just need when you got a camera and you've got a picture in front of you, and if you choose to zoom in on that object, this one becomes blurry.
Now we're talking.
I got Chon on track here. But if you look at this object right here, everything else fades away.
Right.
It's like that. In that moment where there's chaos in your mind and you're in sitting meditation, don't fight with it and don't blame yourself. That's what we usually do is, oh man, I'm terrible at this. I can't meditate. It's not quiet at all. Forget it. No, chaos is happening. You just recognize and come back to your clear water. Just choose inside of this, choose clear water. You will be amazed just by choosing clear water. That's where your camera grabs the focus. And the other thing fades back because you're not feeding it. You're not getting caught up in the voice. You're not getting caught up in the drama. You are choosing clear water, and it just goes its way. And you do that again and again. And sure, you go back to your breath, and like 3 seconds later, another thought comes up or another emotion comes up. Fine, do it again. You saw it. You caught it. Come back to your breath. It will fade because truly it's not real. It will come, it will go. But this is always there. It's always been there. We just didn't know. Nobody told us.
What she was talking about right there, what can see your thoughts?
Only your clear self.
Yeah, clear water. Yeah.
So you will experience that.
And that is the goal of meditation.
Wake up and liberate from that system completely. That is what our awakens and masters teach. And that is what they're waking up. That is what wake up and liberation is. Wake up to your true self and liberate from your false self.
Chon, do you have any questions?
I'm speechless. I really don't. No, I mean, it's been great listening to. I love the analogy of the clear water and different ways of looking at self and kind of detaching from old emotions. And I mean, definitely, I feel like sometimes I have very, very murky, dirty water, and I try my best to separate from those emotions and take on that full responsibility of being the chopstick, you know, but it's tough. So I think kind of taking that step back and looking at it, or meditating in a way, you know, however you do it to find that true you, instead of like, oh, I'm trying to be this super good person, this clarity. It's like your clarity is you. Is finding that true person, I guess, within. So I guess focusing on that is kind of something that I'm going to try to take pushing forward. I don't know. So that's what I've taken from it.
I love it. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys taking the time.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure you have plenty of stuff to do on their property on a day-to-day basis, especially with the weekends and the Thursday nights and things like that. So I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to come show this to us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of like Chon, I was trying to kind of finalize, like bring all of my thoughts together, you know, and kind of have like a final statement. And I think that the most important one is to understand that it's not impossible. Yep. I personally think that is so important. That's a big goal of ours, is to let people, no matter where you're at in your life, it is possible. Yes. Like for us, it's possible to become healthy and to be fit. Right. Yeah. And for you guys, like, it's possible to have clarity in your life.
And I've heard many people ask Awakened One exactly that. Like, is it really possible? I mean, you're born special. You know, you're not like me. Your life, not like my life. Is it really possible? Is it, I'm so full of this. And she always just smiles and says, of course, your original is clear water. Mm-hmm. You already have it. You just didn't know. You didn't know how to connect to it. You didn't have anybody help you. Of course it's possible because you already have it.
Yeah, it's in there. So just know that it is possible. Yes. Share real quick where guys can, anyone listening can find your contact information if they want to come to a retreat or something like that. How do they get a hold of you?
Awesome. You can find us easily on the web, universaldoormeditationcenter.org.
Awesome.
You can find us on Facebook, the same place, Universal Door Meditation Center, or Awakened Zen Master, Tik Yutian. You can find her handle on Instagram, TikTok, AZM, like Awakened Zen Master, Tik, THICHU, Tien, THIEN. We're on Amazon. This little book, The Power of Awake, written by her, is it was a bestseller on Amazon when it came out in 2016 in a few different categories of Zen or religion and Buddhism and such. Philosophy.
I love how it's short and sweet to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very great, very important. So.
It's just meant to be a hint. It's like it gives people a hint of where to aim and to start to find out a little bit about this, about the awake inside. But to truly wake up, you need to go meet her.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, guys, if you're listening to this and you have any interest at all, make sure you check those things out. Yes. Go to a retreat. Go check out what the guys have going on over there in Sugarland.
Yes.
Right. And I'm sure you have people come from all over.
Yes.
I would imagine.
Especially for retreats, because they're going to be there all day, and they'll drive it in from Louisiana, Oklahoma. We have folks who fly in from different cities.
Wow. Yeah, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lunch provided, all that good stuff. It's a full day experience.
Yes.
And guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Peace out.